Hi, everyone. How's it going? How's everyone doing? You excited to be here on a Saturday? No? Yes. Who's excited to be here on a Saturday? Amazing. What's your favorite part so far about today? Someone. Computers? Programming? What else? Go ahead. Sleeping? I mean, your favorite thing doing today. Well, I really, really wish that there were programs like this when I was growing up. And so I think that the fact that you're all here is amazing. And the fact that this program exists is really amazing. So I just wanted to thank you all for coming here and showing up and really caring about learning more and being curious enough to spend your time, your free time doing this. So I think it's amazing. This is a particularly fun month to present because does anyone know what month it is? March, yeah. And what are we celebrating? Women's History Month. Yeah, it's Women's History Month. It is. International Women's Day was just on the 8th, just last week. So I wanted to start off by telling you about some of my inspiration and the women that have really paved the way and been trailblazers in technology since many, 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 many years ago, way before I came around. So Hedy Lovelace. So she was basically the first ever programmer. Not just the first woman programmer, but just the first ever programmer. In the 1800s, she wrote the very first algorithm, which you're going to all learn how to create as well in your own. And she basically recognized the computing power of a machine and what it could do, and she became the first programmer. So I think that's pretty cool, right? Did you know that? The first programmer ever was a woman? And then Hedy Lamarr. So does anyone recognize that icon above her photo? Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, yeah. Have any of you used Wi-Fi ever? Yes, of course. What does Wi-Fi do? Go ahead. Raise your hand so it's easier for me to, go ahead. So you could go to YouTube and watch videos, yeah. So what else does it do? Internet connection, yeah, wonderful. Yeah, it lets your devices connect to the internet and it allows you to do this wirelessly, which is really amazing. So she basically, during World War II, helped come up with a system that was eventually used as the principles that is today what you use for Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. So that's pretty cool too, right? She basically powers all of your devices and everything. That idea originated from the work that she did. And then we have Susan Kerr, and she is amazing. She's a graphic designer. She is an artist. She basically designed all of the user interface of the first Macintosh with Steve Jobs. And so a lot of creative energy, a lot of thought that went into it, and I'm going to be using a lot of emojis throughout my presentation, so she's especially special to me. So let's go back. Does anyone know who this is? Mario? Okay, yeah. First level of Mario. What year did this come out? 1900? Did someone say 1900? No. So this game came out the year that I was born, and that's why it's special. 1983 was the original, and then in 85 it came to the US. 1985 was eventually when it came to the US, and that was the first time that people in America were playing Super Mario, which was amazing. And for me, when I was a kid growing up, this was one of the my very first introduction to technology where I found that it was really fun, because I had a Nintendo, and it was my first Nintendo ever, and it was super old school, and you had to connect it to your TV, and not everyone had it, so it was like super rare to have a Nintendo, so it was just amazing. And I really, 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 really wanted one, and I was always really excited about video games, and from there on, this was the first inspiration of getting me really excited about technology. It was the first thing that sparked that, how does this work? How are video games created? Who makes them? Where do they make them? How do they make them? So I was always really curious about it. So I'm glad that some of you at least recognize it. I wasn't too sure. I was like, they might be too young. That's good. Does anyone recognize this? Toy Story. So 10 years later, this movie came out in the mid-90s, in 95, I believe. And it was the first ever movie to be completely and totally generated by computers. So it used a combination of artists and computer animators and a lot of really, really cool technology to make this movie happen. And I'm sure a lot of you have seen it, and a lot of you have seen the movies that have come after by the same company, Pixar. Has anyone seen Coco? Not yet? OK. So basically, Pixar, the same company that created Toy Story also created Coco, and all of these amazing, Up, have you seen Bugs Life, all these amazing animated films. So that was another point of inspiration for me. I really loved the idea of combining art and technology and using it to make amazing things like this. And then this came out. So how many of you have cell phones with you? A lot of, or own a cell phone, have a cell phone, yeah? Cell phones? Who has cell phones? Yeah? Cool. How many of you want a cell phone but don't have one yet? But pretty soon, OK. Well, I didn't get my first cell phone until, well, this one didn't come out until I was in my 20s. So it took a very long time for me to get one of these phones. This one came out in 2007. It's a long time ago. So this was probably, at that point, I then thought, OK, this is the coolest thing ever. Going from having this computer that you couldn't take anywhere, or a laptop, to having a device that you can carry with you everywhere you go, and it does so much. And so to me, this was just the beginning of where I headed towards in my career, all the companies that I worked at, and it was also a huge inspiration. So lesson 1 is find your inspiration. Inspiration is everywhere. It's in everything that you do. It's in everything that you're learning, everything that you try to expose yourself to. Being here, you're looking for something to be inspired so that can then lead to what you want to do when you grow up and what you want to study and how you're going to get there. And so when something gets you really excited and it gets you that bright-eyed and you want to learn more and more, hold on to that and learn more. And I encourage you to always try to explore and in any different topics, especially in science. So technology is everywhere. So what are some of your favorite uses of technology? Go ahead. Playing video games. What's another one? Favorite uses of technology. What do you use technology for? YouTube. A lot of YouTube fans here. What else do you use technology for? Have any of you been to a doctor lately? It's technology there as well, right? Go ahead. Why is there music? Well, so basically, this gives you an idea. For me, once I realized what you could do with a phone and the fact that technology was used to even make movies, then I got really curious about what are the other applications of it. So right now in technology, have you all seen the self-driving cars that go around? Yeah? So it's in transportation. It's in the way we book vacations. Who's been on a vacation lately? How'd you book your vacation? Probably you went online and used some service to book it, right? Even in the food that we're eating and in the way that we're taking care of our environment and in the way we're using power. Who's seen solar power, solar energy? Is that something? Yeah, ever seen any of solar power? Yeah, so we're really thinking about that. And we're thinking about also how we become better athletes. Who saw the Olympics? You all saw the Olympics on TV, right? Those were pretty amazing. What's your favorite Olympic sport? The ice one? Yeah, there's a lot of ice ones. So all of these athletes use technology to understand how to eat better. They have doctors that track how they're improving over time. And so technology can also help you become a better athlete. It helps you take care of yourself. It helps you shop. We've even started thinking about reinventing currencies and the way we pay. There's a lot of digital currencies now. How many of you have heard of Bitcoin? Bitcoin, what's Bitcoin? Who can tell me what Bitcoin is? I'd be really impressed if you guys know what Bitcoin is. Do you know what Bitcoin is?
It's just an online currency.
Online digital currency,
It's really, really hard to produce.
really hard to produce, right? It's hard to mine. And why is it important? So it's important because we're now thinking about decentralized systems of payment to fix our financial systems. And it's just a new innovative way of using technology. And from there you go to music, space. Technology is really everywhere. And so I encourage you to think about all those applications and find the thing that resonates with you and that you get really excited about. For me, it was about starting a company that helped people connect. So I built a company based on an idea, hired an amazing team, built an amazing team, and now I run my own company after being in technology for 12 years. Now I have my own business. I have a team of 8 amazing people, and we work on this incredible product. And it's called Present, and I'll tell you a little bit about it later. But the big question is, what does it take to create these products? So it takes amazing teams, and so this is my team. And 5 of us are engineers, and the rest aren't engineers. Because to build companies, it really requires you not just to know the engineering side, but also to do marketing. You have to be able to sell the product. You have to be able to do the design for a product. You have to be able to get people excited about it. There's the mobile side. There's the web part of it. So there's a lot of different components about building a technology company. So I think that throughout all of this, I just want to tell you a little bit about how I was able to do that and build this amazing team to build a company. So how did I go from being like, I don't know what technology is, I don't know what I want to do when I grow up, to, all right, I want to start a company. So this is me when I was younger. In the 80s, we'll leave it at that, right around the time that Super Mario came out. I was raised in Mexico. My mom and my family are originally from Mexico. I didn't come to Mexico until I was about 3 years old. This is my mom. We came to the United States. I didn't know any English when I started school. I learned it all throughout my time in the US. Here's one of my first classes in Texas in the 80s as well. And so this was, for me, going to school and leaving Mexico was really hard, but coming to the US, it was a place where we were gonna have a lot of opportunities, and education was at the core of that. Are any of you from other countries? Have families from other countries? What country? India? Philippines? Yeah? Behind you? Philippines, yeah? Anyone else? Where are you all from? Go ahead. So yeah, so it's amazing. So school was everything. And one of the biggest things that I'll really encourage you, lesson number 2, is that as long as you are passionate about studying and that you go to school and you do all of this, you're going to be able to learn and figure out what kind of idea, what kind of product, what kind of company to one day start. For me, it started with going to college and getting a computer science degree. So I knew that I loved video games and I loved technology and I loved the idea of learning how to make it. So what do you have to do? You have to prepare. You have to get the confidence and the skills needed in order to be able to work in tech and get a job and do internships. And so I started off by studying CS at Brown. I was the first in my family to go to college. So this was going to college and applying and figuring out what to major in. This was all very new for everyone in my family, and it was very exciting as well. So how many of you would be the first in your families to maybe go to college? Danny? Yeah? A couple of you. Yeah, and that's really exciting. A lot of us, have families and parents that we can learn from, but the biggest thing along the way was talking to counselors, talking to my teachers, to other students, to other friends that had family who had gone to college, and asking a lot of questions. What school do you go to? Like, what are the differences between the schools? What are the differences between the things you can study? And why is computer science so important? And what can you do with it? And for me, at Brown, I learned that computer science was something that I could apply to so many other things, whether I wanted to go into biotech, or I wanted to go into finance, or I wanted to go into building apps or video games or even movies. Like, at the core of that was learning how to be an engineer. And that all started at Brown. And it was hard. There was a lot of times along the way where I wasn't really sure if it was something that I wanted to do. Oftentimes I was the only girl in the classes. I I hadn't had as much preparation going into college as some of the other students had who had been programming from when they were really young. And so a lot of the times it was hard, but you have to remember that you can take lesson by lesson, a little bit at a time, and you're not expected to learn everything all at once, and it's all a process. And so you're expected to come upon challenges, and you have to take those opportunities and really learn from them. Because there'll be days when you'll feel like a rock star, and you'll be rewarded for your hard work, and you'll feel like everything that you've been learning comes together and makes sense. And so how many of you have worked on a team project lately at school? Lots of team projects, awesome. Tell me of a team project that you worked on at school. A college project? What'd you build? Researching? That's awesome. What else? A medieval times project? That's awesome. Yeah. What else? Go ahead. You built a robot. That's exciting. What about you three? Yeah, right there in the middle. Yeah. Exhibition, okay. Medieval diaries, that's amazing. Cool. Go ahead. Hydraulic fracturing, very, very fascinating. That's amazing. So these are all great things, and I think that the thing that I learned the most about college was that working on team projects, working together with my classmates was the thing that set me up the most for success and ready for doing internships and taking on jobs. So then I moved to Seattle and eventually San Francisco. And San Francisco is, you're near all of it. The tech, the hub of innovation in the entire world. There are some of the best companies here that you could work for, that you could intern for. And so along the way, I realized that I had to develop my skills and experience, and I did this through internships and jobs. So one of my first internships was as an engineer, and it was here in San Francisco. And from there, I learned that there were other things that I could do with my engineering degree, which was to go into product management. So product management is basically someone that may have an engineering background and then helps teams come together and work, and they help designers and engineers and people in marketing. We're basically the people that help build products from the idea all the way till we put it into a consumer's hands. So as an engineer and with an engineering background, I learned through internships and through working at different companies that you could do a lot with an engineering background, that it really sets you up for lots of opportunities of lots of different career paths. And so I eventually worked for Facebook, which was one of my dream companies to work for. Any of you have heard of Facebook? Yeah? Do any of you have a Facebook account? You're probably too young. Facebook accounts? No, but you know somebody with a Facebook account, right? What does Facebook let you do? Pictures online? What else is that? What does Facebook let you do? Anyone else know? Facebook is basically a place where you can go and find your friends and family and the people and connect with them and share photos and share what you're doing and share plans. You can find events. You can find a lot of things. The idea is to basically help people connect and come together. So Facebook is one of those companies that does that. A bunch of the other companies that I ended up working for included Microsoft. Some of you heard of Microsoft? Yeah, maybe? Microsoft. Zynga. Zynga makes a lot of video games. So have any of you played any Zynga video games? Have you? Which one? One of them? Which one? Poker, yeah, they make a poker game. They make a number of games. And along the way, there was a lot of projects that we worked on that never made it out as well. So one of the things that I learned from internships and from all of this is that a lot of the times you hear of these amazing companies and these amazing products, and it's because you only hear of those successes. But for every really successful idea and really successful product, there was a lot of other ideas that we try and we iterate on as engineers. And so one of the biggest things that we learned along the way was to always be getting feedback from users and always be getting ideas for other things that you can do and what is missing, what could be better. And so I was able to get that experience and really learn to hone in my experience as an engineer, as a product manager, and working in teams was the most critical part of that, to be able to develop any product, any idea, and to be able to give it to customers. And through this experience was lesson 4, which I think is the most valuable one, which is that after you get all those skills and training from school, and you learn and you develop them and you practice them by doing internships and jobs, then I think you're able to develop that sense of purpose, and you're able to figure out what problem do you want to solve in the world that's going to make you really happy, and that you have the skills for it, and that you get really excited about, that you really love to do. I think that looking for something that in a career, whether it's as an engineer or whatever you choose to do, it should be because you really are passionate about it, because then you wake up every day super excited about going to work, super excited about the people that you work with and the product that you work on. And so this is my team. So, and we basically, at the core of why we work together is because, we really enjoy the problem that we're solving. We all have engineering backgrounds, creative backgrounds. We've come together. We combine that art that I talked about and the creative side with the technical engineering side. And so it really takes, big teams to come up with projects and be able to launch them. And so let's think about it. So for inspiration, what was my inspiration? Video games. So when you're thinking about yours, find inspiration everywhere that you learn, like programs like this and things that you learn at school. How did I develop my skills and confidence? Going to college, yeah. It's a big part of really, going to school, getting really great grades, and really developing your skills and learning as much as possible is really important. So I went to college. And then opportunities. What kinds of opportunities did I take on? Worked at Facebook, took a job, yeah, what else? Internships, yeah. And so you have to practice, and you have to really, you learn best by creating things and by building things. And so that was internships and jobs for me. And then after that, I took action. I said, okay, I've learned a lot. I love technology. I know how to build it. I've built some products at really cool companies. Now I took action, and I decided to do what? Make my own, yeah. So it really is a process, and I think that the best piece of advice that I say is when you're working on something and you're working with people, that you have the same core values. And so you think about that with everything that you do. And for us, I'll share at our company what our core values is to give you a sense of when you're thinking about like how to work in a project with a team and develop anything. This is some of the things that we follow. So it's about being present. So for us, this means showing up, and whether it's being in school or being around people, it's being present and making sure that we're there and giving it our most attention, and we're trying our hardest. We cultivate collaboration, and this means that everything that we do and everyone that we hire on our team and every project we take on, we make sure that it's very collaborative and that it's not just one person doing all the work, that it feels like we're doing it in a team, and we're constantly evolving and generating ideas this way because we bring a lot of people to the table that can share and help our projects grow. We embody compassion. This one's especially, I think, important because as you think about technology and we think about things like robots and AI and self-driving cars and different forms of new currency, there's a lot of questions that we have to ask ourselves about what this means for humans. What does it mean to have robots? What rights do robots have? What should they be allowed to do? And so I think that with everything that we try to develop, we try to think about how is it bettering humanity? How is it bettering people? And whether it's you're using it for medicine or using it to explore different ways of improving the environment and the way we consume and use and create energy. All of these things, I think, at the core of them should be helping our communities and our society be stronger and healthier. And so we consider that in everything that we work on at our company. And then the biggest one is think big, but start small. So while initially the idea of starting a company seemed like this really, really crazy idea, and only some of the best, most brilliant minds, do it, and you hear all these amazing stories. How do you start? And so for us, it's always thinking about, okay, we want to create this really amazing thing. What is the first step that we have to do? And starting small may be doing research. It may be asking questions. It may be taking a class to see if you like to program in a specific language, for example. It may be taking an internship to see if you want to work for a specific company after you graduate from college. So you can always take little small steps, and really you start with a big idea and you take small steps along the way to help you and prepare you for that next big thing. And so I think that the best innovations are really the result of creativity and teamwork, and it's really thinking, how can technology help our world be better? And it all starts with all of you. It's every single one of you with all of your unique ideas, your unique experiences, the unique problems that you think are important and that you're preparing yourself to solve. All of you have the potential to be an engineer and solve some of these really, really important problems. And so we need as many of you to come up with the next wave of big, bold, innovative ideas. And so I really, really encourage you to continue to study how to build, how to create, how to program. Understanding technology is going to be a really big role into all of our lives. And so it's been really, really, it's been fundamental to everything that I've done in my career and everything that I've studied and my ability to start my own company. And so I'm really grateful for that. And I hope that all of you are also as excited about studying engineering and learning more about it, especially through a program like this. Cool.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And I think some of you probably have some questions. So we have a microphone here, and Kate's got one back there, too. So anybody have any questions to start us off? What do you think? Yep, just 1 second.
How long were you in college?
I was in college for 5 years. So I did 4 years of classes, and then 1 year I did research. So I wanted to see if I wanted to go to grad school, so I did a year, and then I also did internships, and then decided to work instead of going to grad school. 5 years. Go ahead.
First, and then you.
What exactly does your company do?
We build an app. That's a great question. So we build an app called Present, and the idea is that it's to help people connect in their communities based on common interests. So imagine if you're in college and all of the students that are interested in engineering can connect via the app. Or if you are all doing an internship together, you can connect via the app. Or if you live in your neighborhood and you want to organize a weekend event, or you want to start a running club. So we basically enable people to connect over interests and help them make more friends and help them expand their professional network as well. So it's called Present. What else?
Are there more people on your team than just in the picture?
No, that's the core of the team. We also have interns and a couple of other contractors that we also hire. But for our full-time, we are, there's 5 engineers, and then a designer, marketing, and then I do product and everything else. But we do have interns that help with social media and that are brand ambassadors and that help creating, they write a lot of blog content and articles for us as well. So, yeah.
Where is your main building located?
Sorry,
Where is your main building located?
Oh, for my company, it's in San Francisco. We're in the financial district. We have an office downtown. If any of you ever want to stop by and check out our office, you can definitely figure out organizing a little field trip. We've hosted other, that's one of the things that we love to do at our company is to host students and come and talk about the different roles that it takes to create a startup, because you hear about these startups. What are they? Who can start one? What do you need? How do you raise money? How do you hire people? How do you build and release products? So that's all. We love to share, kind of the details of what everyone's role is, so that people can get exposed and students get exposed to the different jobs that are required to start a company.
What kind of setbacks did you have in the process?
What kind of setbacks? So there's the school part, and then there's starting the company part. I think for school, the hardest thing was initially not knowing how I could apply what I was learning to the real world. Thinking, okay, I'm learning math, and I'm taking a chemistry class, and I'm taking, an algorithms class. How does that translate into real world work? And I think that the way I solved that was I did research when I was in college, because I had a really hard time understanding, like, how do you go from doing a problem set or a sample program to actually building real software. And so I did research, and I also did internships to learn how companies build technology together and understand all the different components that are necessary. So that was really hard initially to conceptualize, taking like your first programming class and thinking, okay, how do I do this and now build, Instagram, or build, something like Facebook, something. So internships really helped. And then in building a company, one of the hardest problems is raising money for your company. So that's definitely a whole conversation on its own. But the core of it is, like, when you're really passionate about building something and you have a great team, then investors will see that and they'll help fund your idea. And so there's a lot. But it is definitely a very hard thing. And also, as a woman, there's, last year, less than 4% of venture funds, so funds that went towards startups and companies, went to companies that were started by women. So it's especially hard, I think. And that's changing and it's evolving, but that was also one of the setbacks, I think, was figuring out how to navigate that and starting my first company.
Great. Any other questions? No? Great. Well, I'm personally interested. I think, starting a company sounds really amazing and exciting. And anyone else in the room ever thought maybe starting a company would be cool someday? Just me? I think one of us, probably. Yeah, it'd be pretty cool. So it's amazing to hear what your path was like. And I guess I have one final question before we wrap up. All of these students are learning lots of different things and practicing different skills relating to technology and how to collaborate. As they move into the future, hopefully those skills are helpful. What advice would you give to these middle school students today, knowing what your path has been like and your experience as they go off into high school and college and beyond?
Yeah, so one of the pieces of advice, and this could be applicable to your school or not, is that for me, when I was in high school, we didn't have computer science classes. So that wasn't even something that I had access to. So for a lot of you, you probably do have these resources and programs like this, so you're already ahead of where I was when I was your age. So I actually, when I was in high school, I took a college class. So I applied to the community college, and I said, okay, they don't offer computer science classes, what can I do? And my counselor said, well, go to the community college and maybe they'll let you take a class. And so I went and I talked to one of the teachers, and they're like, okay, sure, you can take a class. And so I started taking college classes while being in high school. And I think the advice there is that, just because something, you're not entirely sure how to do something, always ask your counselors and ask your teachers and see what resources they can give you. The same thing for applying to college. I had no idea how to apply for financial aid because no one in my family had done it, didn't understand the process. And so it was just, there's a lot of resources that high schools offer and junior high schools offer as well. And one of the things that we did is we even visited the universities that were in the East Coast. So the school that I went to was really far. It was all the way in Rhode Island. Anyone know where Rhode Island is? Super far, right? So I lived in California, and I told my parents, I'm going to Rhode Island. And that was really scary. And so I took a trip out there to see what it was like. And I did that through a program in my high school. And so always ask questions and be super curious, and there's so many counselors and teachers that are willing to help as long as you're asking the questions and demonstrating that you want to learn.
Great. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you sharing your story with us today. Big round of applause.
Thanks.